Leaks are the hidden water wasters in our homes. While we can all relate to the annoying drippy faucet, we're going to show you some less obvious leaks. Those hiding throughout your home that could be wasting hundreds of gallons of water every day, costing you money, and even damaging your property. Leaks don't have to be a big mystery or impossible to solve. In this video, I'm going to give you some simple steps to finding a leak and some quick fixes that will only take a few minutes of your time and a little know-how. Bigger problems may require a plumber or a landscaper, and I'm going to show you how to find the right professional for the job. Although the information in this video focuses on potential leaks in your home, the techniques I will show you also apply to many businesses. So how do you know if you have a leak? Well, one indicator is a higher than normal water bill. A bill even just a few dollars higher could mean that you are losing thousands of gallons of water without even knowing it. Other signs include low water pressure, the sound of running water, or excessively wet soil in your landscape. There are two types of leaks, intermittent leaks and continuous leaks. An intermittent leak occurs periodically and is usually associated with a faulty device, such as a toilet or a water softener. For instance, if the water level in your tank is slowly leaking, you may hear what is called a ghost flush. That is, your toilet will sound like it is filling when no one is in the bathroom. Because when the water in the tank drops to a certain level, the tank automatically fills up. It could mean that your flapper is leaking, or that there is some other problem causing water to leak out of the tank. Your water meter has a flow indicator that moves when water passes through the meter. With an intermittent leak, the flow indicator will only move when your tank is refilling. A continuous leak is one that occurs non-stop, and it's usually the result of a broken pipe or a faulty valve. It could start as a minor leak, but if not detected and fixed, it could soon become a major leak and cause severe damage. Unlike the intermittent leak, the flow indicator on your water meter will be moving constantly if you have a continuous leak. Leaks can happen inside and out. Common sources of indoor leaks are your toilet, faucet, and water softener or treatment system. Outdoor leaks can occur in your automatic pool filler, swamp cooler, irrigation system, or your main service line. Toilets are the most common culprits of intermittent leaks, so check here first. A leaking toilet can waste hundreds of gallons of water every day, but the fix is relatively simple. Sometimes a toilet leak is caused by an improperly adjusted float. However, it is usually the result of an old or worn toilet flapper that no longer seals the tank properly. To find out if the flapper is the problem, carefully remove the lid to the tank. Place the leak detector dye tablets or a couple of drops of dark food coloring in the tank. You can also use a dark colored beverage or powdered drink mix. Wait 10 minutes and do not flush the toilet. If the color appears in the bowl, then the toilet flapper needs to be replaced. To replace your toilet flapper, begin by turning off the water supply at the wall. Flush the toilet to empty the tank. Next, disconnect the ears of the flapper from the fill tube. And then disconnect the chain from the flush handle. Remove the old flapper. Water will be draining from the tank while you're doing this. Place the new flapper over the tank opening. Attach the ears to the fill tube. And then attach the chain back to the flush handle. Replace the lid and turn the water back on to fill the tank. Then repeat the leak test to be sure that you have corrected the problem. Toilet flappers are available at most hardware or plumbing supply stores. Select a good quality flapper. They last longer. Also, if you use cleaning agents in your tank, your flapper won't last as long and you'll need to replace it more often. If the toilet is not the source of the leak, or if you're concerned that you may have more than one leak, it's time to do a little detective work. Next, locate your water meter. You can use your water meter to help isolate the source of the leak. If you have difficulty locating your meter, call your water provider. They may be able to send out a technician to help you. Once you locate the water meter, your investigation can begin. Before removing the meter box lid, put on some long sleeves and gloves. Carefully remove the meter box lid with a large screwdriver or a sturdy tool. Some water providers use automatic read devices, so be careful not to disturb any wires or devices inside. You want to lift the cap covering the meter lens. When checking for a leak, look for a small triangle on the meter. This is the flow indicator. And if your meter does not have a flow indicator, check for movement by watching the sweep hand. To use the sweep hand to find a leak, mark the sweep hand's current position and then wait 10 minutes. If the sweep hand moves from its mark, well, you may in fact have a leak. In fact, anytime water is moving through your meter, the triangle will spin or the sweep hand will move around the dial. Each time the sweep hand makes one full revolution around the dial, 10 gallons of water has passed through the meter. If your meter reads in cubic feet, then one revolution equals 1 cubic foot, which is about 7.5 gallons. If no water is being used inside or outside of your home and the flow indicator is moving, well, you have a leak. Let's start by isolating the main service line between the meter and your house. To check your main service line, locate your water shutoff valve. This is either in your garage, in your front yard near the cap-marked sewer, or near your home's manifold system. A note here though, depending on the age of your home, it may not have a shutoff valve. If you cannot find your shutoff valve, you will need to call a plumber. For all other homes, locate the valve and shut it off to stop the flow of water to your home. This same shutoff valve can prevent damage to your home in the event of a severe leak. After you've shut off the valve, go into your house and turn on the hot and cold water at the faucet to ensure that the water is actually off. Go back out to your water meter, and if the flow indicator is moving, the leak is in the main service line between the shutoff valve and the water meter. If the flow indicator is stopped, the leak is somewhere on the other side of the main shutoff. Either problem could require the attention of a professional. If you have determined that the leak is not in your main service line, it's time to check other possible sources at your home. Isolating the source of a continuous leak is a process of elimination. When you're checking for a continuous leak, first turn the water back on at the main shutoff valve to restore the supply of water to your home. Next, turn off all water fixtures and appliances inside and outside your home. If you have an automatic pool filler or water treatment system, be sure to turn off the water to them as well. And it's a good idea to be familiar with the location of the shutoff valves at your home in case you need to turn off the water in an emergency. Faucets, toilets, water heaters, water softeners, and clothes washers have individual shutoff valves. These valves are located below or near the fixtures. Newer homes like this one may have a central manifold system which allows you to shut off the water to all the fixtures in your home at one location. Next, return to the water meter. If the flow indicator is spinning, you probably have a leak between the main shutoff valve and the fixture valves you've turned off. If the flow indicator is not spinning, there are no leaks in that piping. To determine which system or fixture may be the source of the leak, turn them back on one at a time at the system or fixture itself or at your home's manifold, and return to check the meter each time. If the indicator is not moving, you do not have a continuous leak in that system or fixture. Turn off the system or fixture and move to the next possible source. Other items to check include your hot water system, your water softener, and your irrigation system. To check your water softener, turn the bypass lever back on. Remember that we had turned off all of our water using appliances earlier. Then check the meter to see if the meter flow indicator is spinning. If it is, then you have found the source of the leak. Isolate your irrigation system by shutting the water off at the anti-siphon valve that serves your system. Return to the meter. Now, if the flow indicator stops spinning, then there is a leak in the irrigation system. If you have a cracked or leaking irrigation pipe or irrigation valve, you will need to replace it. To repair your irrigation system, you may want to tackle the problem yourself or call a professional, depending on your comfort level. Once the defect is replaced, turn the irrigation system on to ensure it's working properly. After the system shuts off, Check the water meter to be sure that the leak has been fixed. The flow indicator should stop moving when the irrigation system shuts down. To recap our investigation, remember, isolating the source of a leak is a process of elimination. We first turned off the water at each fixture or appliance and checked the meter to see if the flow indicator was still spinning. If it was, that told us that the leak was somewhere between the main shutoff valve and one or more appliances or fixtures. To determine which appliance or fixture was the source, we turned them back on one at a time, returning to check the meter each time until we isolated the source of the leak to one of the appliances or fixtures. If you're unable to isolate the source of the leak or make the repair yourself, you'll need to call a plumber. A leak detection service or plumber has specialized equipment that can isolate the source of an indoor leak. Plumbers also have the tools and skills to tackle more complex repairs, such as leaks in your walls, service line, or under the foundation of your home. Before you call a contractor or start any work, check with your insurance company to see if the repair is covered by your homeowner's policy. Be an informed consumer and protect yourself by choosing a qualified professional. We're here with Steve Hansen, who is a plumber with 35 years experience. How are you, Steve?
Very good.
Good. So tell me, right off the bat, what should someone consider when hiring a plumber?
Should make sure that the plumber is licensed contractor in the state. Make sure that he is licensed in any areas that he is working in.
Does he need to be insured?
Yes, always make sure they're insured and bonded. This will cover any damage that might occur when he is doing work.
Well, that makes sense. What about getting estimates?
I recommend 3 estimates. That way you're able to get a top and a bottom, and usually somebody that's in the middle somewhere. It gives you a good idea of what you're getting and making sure that you're getting what you want for your dollar. Make sure it's in writing so you can see it in black and white.
What about the history of the plumber? I mean, how do you know if this guy has a good track record?
You can check with the Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, and find out if you can find out what their track record is, if they've had a lot of complaints or if they haven't had any complaints.
What about the plumber who comes in and says, you know, I need $500 before I begin work?
Most plumbers that are licensed and bonded, like I say, would not have to have money up front.
Okay.
Most of your costs that are involved in your labor anyway, and that happens after the job is done. So you never want to get a plumber that wants money up front. You'd want to look for a different contractor if you had that situation.
What about a repair that's really a lot of money? I mean, what can people do?
You can normally get financing. You can normally get somebody to finance you, try to arrange payments, set it up with them before the job is started.
That's helpful. Thank you so much for being with us. Also, keep in mind that any reputable plumber will offer same-day service for major leaks. You should not have to wait to have a significant water leak repaired. If you do have a major leak, it may require a contractor to tear up your floor to get to it and repair the source of the leak. Be sure the plumber or plumbing company is willing to have workers on site until the job is done. Work on major leaks should resume non-stop around the clock until the problem is repaired. These are all questions to ask before you contract for any repair. There may be more than one way to approach a repair. Review the options with your plumber, including the time involved and associated costs, before approving the work. Also, ask your plumber about any guarantees or warranties on the completed repair. Again, here are the most important things to consider when hiring a plumber. The plumber should be licensed. The plumber should also be bonded and insured. Also, check the plumber's history with the Better Business Bureau. Get more than one estimate and get them all in writing. Never pay for a job up front, even a deposit. And if it is a costly repair, ask your plumber about payment or financing arrangements. While you can't prevent all leaks from happening, there are some things you can do. It's a good idea to check for leaks periodically as part of your regular home maintenance. Another preventative tip: turn off indoor water sources such as toilets and washing machines if you're going to be away from your home for an extended period. Whether you have a small leak or a large one, it's important to address the problem immediately. Waiting could waste thousands of gallons of water and increase the chances of damage to your home and a more costly repair. After all, keeping an eye on potential leaks is just good detective work. To learn more about how to read your meter and how to find a leak, log on to the Water Authority's website at snwa.com or call your water provider.